Affordability across Canada is one of the biggest topics that we seem to come across both in my market and in Kyle's market. When you look in Toronto, when you look in Vancouver, we see townhouses every day that are north of $1 million. And we commonly shake our heads, and the clients shake their heads and they wonder, how am I actually going to get into the real estate market if a townhouse, which is hopefully a home for my family, is going to cost me more than I can actually afford? We got other provinces in Canada that you can get a great townhouse for under $400,000, believe it or not. You don't have to live in Ontario. You don't have to live in Vancouver. So today we are going to show you what's going on across Canada. We're going to show some Vancouver townhouses. Kyle's got a couple great ones for you. I've got something in Toronto for you guys. We're going to head out to Moncton, and then I've also got something in Ottawa, and you are going to be surprised at the major difference in prices here. Let's let Kyle start it off. We're going to head to Vancouver, and we all know the price is going to shock some of us there. But Kyle, give us a bit of a background. Who's buying a townhouse in Vancouver? Who can we expect that buyer to be a lot of times?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's going to be a little bit shocked of what this one is going to be in. It's going to be in a good area. It's not elevated in terms of a super premier luxury. I would say this is quite an average type of townhouse. But, in this market, just because the cost of detached housing in Vancouver is so high, that townhouses and duplexes have been very, very popular segment for people to be able to grow in. You still don't have, an enormous amount of size. I know when we were talking and prepping for the call today, we were saying, townhouses around 2,000 square feet. Those don't really exist here in Vancouver. I was trying to max it out and be around 1,500 square feet. But yeah, you have a lot of people that are trying to get in on the townhouse segment in Vancouver, which is interesting. You can also have these very small townhouses too, these ones that just have 2 bedrooms. And what we're seeing in this down market, a lot of people were, buying almost a glorified condo in a 2-bedroom townhouse space. And these are a lot of the ones that are being a huge pain to sell. So, if you are looking at that townhouse space, my consideration would be, you want a minimum of 3 bedrooms. We're seeing right now properties that have some question marks are starting to sit in that townhouse and duplex segment.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, townhouses, they end up being a transitional type of home for a lot of people, right? Maybe you started in a condo, you worked your way up to that townhouse, and eventually you're going to grow in life, right? You have more stuff, more people as part of the household. And really, townhouses have a lot of issues, especially out in Ontario. We've got like 7 different floor plans that we see out here. Somewhere you open a door and you got to head up a flight of 20 stairs. And that becomes extremely inconvenient without a garage for somebody with groceries, elderly, somebody who's got a stroller. So they end up being a transition piece. So let's see what you got out there in the very affordable Vancouver area.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump in. I think the other thing that we see too, before I jump in, I noticed that a lot of townhomes here, they won't have a powder room on the main floor. They'll put something upstairs on the floor above, and that's becoming very problematic for people who can't sell them, that not having that bathroom. People have to go upstairs, or the top level of the townhouse is just a massive primary suite too. So you have all these extra stairs here. Do you see that out your way as well?
We see that similarly, depending on that type of floor plan that somebody chooses, of course. That bathroom might be on that secondary level. It's a pain in the butt to get to, especially if you have somebody over. You got friends, family over, they got to head upstairs to go to the washroom. Really inconvenient. And the other issue that I found with townhouses, and you can tell me what it's like out there, garages are not actually something that you can expect a lot of the time to get somewhere to store your car. So you might have a secondary outdoor parking lot. Sometimes there's an underground parking, but you do have quite the travel from your vehicle into your actual front door in some cases here.
Yeah, in Vancouver, you won't have a garage for a townhouse. If it's in a bigger development, you can get some underground parking. But let me share my screen here, and let's get into it here. So I'm just going to choose my tab, and
These are
let's
great
get
because
into.
I like to be surprised, right? I don't know what's going on in Vancouver, so I can't wait to see what you're going to show me here.
All right, so this one here is 329 7th Avenue East. This is in Mount Pleasant, so a nice pocket in Vancouver here that's just outside the downtown core. I lived in this area for a long time. I still have some rental properties. So this is a pretty Similar architecture with what you're seeing. You can see the two residences with the brick, and what you're going to see here listed for $1.599 million, right? So this is very heavily priced for the Canadian consumer here. Even in most cases, you can have an amazing detached home across the province and still have money in the bank. So this is 3 bedroom, 3 bath. This one does state it has a garage. We have to look at the photos to see if that's underground or not. Some of the details here: $4,400 in your property, taxes, $515 a month. So you are considered strata. Anything here in BC, 2 units or more, you're considered a strata. So there are strata fees included here. This is a 2015 build, $1,541 here as well. So let's jump into some of the photos just so that we can compare and contrast. So this is the one on the left-hand side. So it has some of the stucco and brick here, really important in Vancouver. You can see these horizontal channels. Not sure if this is true in Toronto. This shows that it's been rain screened. These buildings beside here that are stucco, you may have heard of the whole leaky condo issue in Vancouver. Very important to make sure that you have rain screening. This horizontal channel does show that. So we go into here, open concept. I would say that this might have some elevated ceiling heights of 9 foot. You got the nice hardwood floor in there, a fireplace, that's gas. And this one's a really nice unit, actually. It's a quarter unit here, which is nice. You get those extra windows to let that natural light in. I find that when you buy those townhomes that you just have, windows at the front, you feel like you're living in a basement suite.
Yeah, the middle
Um,
units are a pain for people, right? Yeah, might as well live in a condo, right?
Yeah, no, a condo for sure. So here again, you have those nice quarter lights or quarter windows here. But for the viewers out there, is this worth $1.6 million to you? It does definitely have some nice features here. The feature walls, everything that you need in here, the basement for the kids and all that as well. This is your little walkway. I want to see if they have the picture of the garage. So as you can see, this is the floor plan here. So it would be underground parking. They don't have it on here. So you can see that there's 2 bedrooms on the top floor and a rec room in the bedroom in the downstairs space. So this is actually pretty nice for a family. If you have some older kids, as they get older, they can have the downstairs bedroom. There's actually an entry outside, so they can have their own space. In Vancouver, if you want to do short-term rental, you could actually you can rent 1 bedroom out of your space. So you could use this as a short-term rental and be in compliance, I guess, space. So I would say pretty nice floor plan, but it just comes down to if you can stomach the price point.
Eh, So from your point of view, seeing 1599 obviously is shocking to me, even in the Toronto area. Is that seem like a good value, what you're seeing
No,
there, or does that seem overpriced?
that's overpriced. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's overpriced right now. A year and a half ago, I think you're in the wheelhouse. I mean, you can get some of these townhouses now. Duplexes get a little bit larger. Some duplexes are selling in around 2 million. I think this market that's just a little bit high because the detached market has started to really drop. And for a couple $100,000 more, you're not going to get to that level. You could get into that detached space.
Right. Yeah, that's fair enough, right? I mean, once you get to that threshold and price too, there's different situations you're coming from, right? You probably had a previous home, you've got some equity, you're in a better financial spot than somebody who's maybe just bought their first home and the market started to take a little bit of a turn too. So I'm not gonna make people suffer too much. We don't have to show them Toronto just yet. We'll show them some of the more affordable provinces that are out there and areas within Canada to just show them that it's not just our two areas that are, you know, extremely in the news as unaffordable, but there's just some pretty decent options out there when you actually take a peek outside of your area. The reason why this podcast is going to cover Canada wide is because me and you, we've got a lot of connections that are across Canada, right? We've got agents that we can help people actually navigate some of these more affordable markets and actually help you guys out in that sense. So we've got just on the other end of Ontario, so in the Ottawa way, you're going to see a really affordable option that's coming out here. This 1,200 square feet, it is going to have some issues being that 2 bed, 2 bath, like Kyle mentioned. It is really only for a specific type of buyer. At the end of the day, this is only going to last you so long with 2 beds, 2 bath. The fact that it has 2 bath is actually a nice little perk for people. But that being said, you're going to lose out on some of the things you'll get from a more expensive townhouse in the GTA, at least down in the Toronto area here. So you're going to have that surface parking. Typically, it's just an open parking lot here. Nothing's covered, so not underground like you had there. So the floor plans, these are kind of intertwined. This would be more of a stack style townhouse. So you're going to head into this lower door here, and you're going to head right up a flight of stairs to that main level. So you will be the second and third floor technically. And then with some of these other ones, you'll have the main and the second. So they're kind of intertwined for those of us who don't know all the different types of townhomes that are out there. But pretty nicely done, nicely staged on the inside. Utilizing the 1,200 or so square feet is really the most important thing, right? You got to maximize the most out of your space. So not having a separate dining table could have served them well if they wanted additional seating space, or just having a smaller table here works in some cases. But if it's just a single person or a couple, they might be fine just having the bar top seating, right? So they could utilize this living space a little bit differently, have a bigger couch if they needed. Or maybe they got the kids, so they need a little bit more space. Herringbone flooring here, nicely done, right? You're not talking like
Yeah,
a
nicely done.
high end kitchen, but I recognize this from HomeSense out here, right? So they've got a lot of the staging items that we see in and out of our areas. You got some balcony access through one of the bedrooms that's being used as an office. But for like 300 and change thousand, this
Yeah.
like to me and you, this probably looks like, hey, we should buy some of these, right? It makes our markets look extremely insane. And I think that's a big conversation that we've been having a lot of the time is like, yeah, we are two big provinces where a lot of inflow of other countries come in. We've got a lot of jobs in our countries, even though we've had some job losses as of recently, but our home pricing is, what is yours? 3x plus for something. Mine is the same, right? So it's a big, big challenge for people. Now, the other one I want to show you guys before we hop off to Kyle, you got what, Alberta for us as well?
I got one in Calgary. Yeah.
Oh, Calgary, perfect. So New Brunswick area. We've got something in Moncton as well. This is a 3 and 2, just under
So
1,500.
is that the same price as that last one, both at 349.9?
Yeah, so we had 349 and
Oh,
369.
369.
So
Okay.
like the Ottawa area a little bit more expensive still, in comparison to our markets, it's great. But then you go to New Brunswick and you're going to notice across the country, every type of townhouse is looking different, right? What you have, what we have in Ottawa and New Brunswick here, they all look very different. This is basically one long building that is divided into townhomes here. So you're going to get 1,500 square feet or thereabouts. This looks like it could fit 2 parking spaces pretty easily here, but it's nicely done as well, right? We're not talking about a hole in the wall or anything like that. You've got your very neat stainless steel island here, which you don't see very often on that countertop there, unless I'm getting a glare. But nice open kitchen. You got some nicely done cabinets with what looks like to be a granite countertop here. Some entry into your kitchen. I don't know about you, Kyle. Not a big fan of having the
Mm.
entry right into my kitchen, but floor plan is one of those things. When you're buying a home, it's important to make sure you choose the right floor plan that makes sense for you, right? But this, for all intents and purposes, like this is a very nice looking spot for 340 grand, right? You've got a lot of space. You see a lot of baseboard heaters out this way in New Brunswick. So do you in Vancouver. You guys have all the baseboard heating. We don't really see it all that often in Ontario, believe it or not. We mostly are dealing with just straight furnaces. We don't have baseboard heaters all that often unless it's something that's older. So
What about
is it
Radiant? Radiant's
we
quite popular here.
yeah, we don't have a ton of it. We've got some of it here and there, but we don't see it
Interesting.
as often. Yeah, baseboard heaters, they used to be really popular in the 70s and 80s in Ontario, but now it's almost seen as a insurance risk sometimes because the insurance companies are going to say, okay, what if somebody doesn't turn off the baseboard heater? What if their curtains are too close to their baseboard heater? We got some fire issues, right? So it's one of the things that I go through a home, and if a client sees baseboard heaters, they're kind of turned off, at least in Ontario, in my area here. So
Yeah, they're
different.
starting. They're starting to definitely. People are either doing the radiant in-floor heating or the heat pumps, right? Something along those lines to do all that there. So yeah, that's it. Those interesting. I mean, both of those options. I think for me, I probably go more the Toronto or the Ontario version than the Moncton version for $20,000 more. Plus, I think that other one, the finishes were about higher quality, and I like that color scheme and floor plan better.
Yeah, I think that was a nicer one based on the pictures. The square footage was a little bit smaller. And then after you show the Calgary one, I'll show you what's kind of going on like directly in the Toronto area. Pricing is a little bit higher. Still looks like a deal compared to Vancouver, but it's just another different option that we've got out in the Ontario area here. So what do you got in Calgary? What are we seeing out there?
Yeah, so this one's actually quite nice. Visually out front, very, very visually appealing, very modern here. So this one here is at 619,000, so almost double from those options back east. This is a 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom, 2 parking on this one here. And as we go through here to some of the items here, property taxes are actually higher than the one in Vancouver, which is interesting. Maintenance fee is very high, $949 a month. So that's interesting too.
Oh yeah, that's
Didn't
steep. Yeah.
really expect that to be that high because that can take a toll. I mean, this is a concrete build. Maybe, sometimes we'll have to look at the photos. I see a concrete building here. These are very common in Vancouver in more of the urban areas where you'll have some of these concrete townhomes attached to a high rise
Yeah. What do
out
you call
here.
them there? We call them a podium townhouse. I don't know what you guys call them.
I guess it depends where they're located. I just, like a concrete townhouse here, but usually we'll see a lot of these ones will just have windows in the front, like we talked about, and nothing on the sides or the back. And then it's like you're in one big basement suite. So all these ones we pulled, it's the first time we're looking at the photos. So
Yeah.
first time I go through, I hate this floor plan already. I hate when there's no place for a TV because how are you going to watch this? This is very interesting here. So already this floor plan is I'm out on this unit. They have this huge like
Are they
board.
hosting a conference room here? What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, some sort of conference here, high level conference room here. But you can just see, what do you do with this space here? Is this a projector up top? I feel like this person's using this for like an office.
Workspace.
It's like
Yeah,
a
I feel like.
whiteboard here and all that. So interesting way to present this. Kitchen quite modern with the stone, what you kind of would have with downtown living. But again, you have no windows in the back. So this is going to be quite dark depending on the exposure. You feel like you're living in a basement suite. And you can see the entry here is from the back, likely from the parkade. So you do have entry there. So as you get outside, the bathroom there, all right.
Yeah, not
Finishes here.
bad.
You got some windows here for the bedroom. Double vanity here on the master. Tiling not really my choice here, but
No, is that a brown? I'm not a yeah, it's not my
yeah.
choice either.
So, on the exterior, this is something that's quite appealing. You can see this is where it's connected to the high rise. So you'll have all the amenities. If they have a pool or a gym, you'll have access to those. But you're roped into that strata there as well, which I find for these fees, that's to me, this is like the bottom on the list, man.
Yeah, I'm moving to New Brunswick at this point. I'm not going to Calgary, although, Calgary's got its own perks. That this one at least isn't something I'm jumping out there for. Although we do hear a lot of people, and we've got a ton of like advertising out in Ontario. I don't know about you guys in Vancouver, but for people to move out to the Calgary area, go for the new builds a lot of the time. So we've got some of these brokerages who are pushing their stuff to us, having meetings here to try to say, hey, if your clients are looking to maybe invest because Ontario's become very uninvestable. It's really just people who are buying and enjoying houses, not as much investors. They've kind of fled the province at this point because of the affordability, right? So it's interesting to see it. It's a podium townhouse, so it would have been nice to see maybe what the amenities are, maybe to push it over the edge to get some of that in those pictures. I'm sure they had the ability to add those in there, but the finishes there and the floor
Mm.
plan in itself was kind of eh. I don't think it made sense. And if you're going to go and spend that much money on a strata fee every single month, plus the price tag on that one was what?
That was just over six,
Right. So the price tag is okay when I'm
six
comparing it to what
nineteen.
we've got out
Yeah.
here, but 900 and change is pretty steep to add on top of that for what you get. And once again, for me, where I'm at, I want a driveway at least. I want somewhere to park my car that's not too challenging to get to and from. The underground is nice. In a Calgary winter, I guess you don't have to clean your car. So it's got some perks there, right? You're just heading to the underground, but you probably got to deal with a ton of elevators. And then you just don't really feel like you're in a townhouse there. You probably feel like you're in a condo more than anything else, I think.
Well, if you want your driveway, you better not be coming out this way. You can spend $3 to $4 million in Vancouver and still park on the street. and
Oh
have no
my.
driveway.
Oh man, I'm gonna show you a driveway. I got a driveway. I got a
There
driveway
you
here. Here we
go.
go. For 1.139 in the outskirts of Toronto. So Etobicoke, for anybody who's not from the Toronto or GTA area, you are like 15 minutes outside of downtown. This is my favorite personal area in the Toronto area. If you're gonna live close to the city, but not be right downtown in the mess where it's taking you, 20 hours to get across the city. It's just unbearable in the traffic down there if you have a vehicle. Etobicoke is great because you can get outside the city easily, or you can hop on a subway close by. You can get downtown if you need to by just hopping on a train or hopping on the subway. So this guy here, it's on Brownstone Lane. For those of us who are just listening at the moment, it's listed for 1.139, new to the market, but right now we're able to kind of see a lot of the data. So this one was bought back in 2020 for 973, and it looks like that 5-year term came up for them, and they're trying to sell, possibly coming up on a mortgage renewal here, maybe not able to continue to afford this type of home or just looking to get out. And they've tried it from 1.4, now they're all the way down here to 1139. So they've tried to lower that price enough to get people excited about it. Still on the
What's
market.
that? What's that 2+1 bedroom mean? I've never seen that
So
before.
out here, a +1 is a bedroom or an office space that is not quite a bedroom. So it's like below grade usually. So it could be a den, something like that. But we'll go through and I'll show you whatever the +1 is here that they are pointing out. Now, when it comes to fees, these are truly a freehold townhouse. So at just over $1 million or 1.1, there's no additional fees here in this one. So there's no strata fee on something like this. You are going to have one garage space and then one driveway space as well. It's an end unit. So I like an end unit. If you're going to go buy a semi, you might as well buy a freehold townhouse that's an end unit. You're going to get it for a little bit of a cheaper price out here. But beautiful entryway. You've got a couple stairs up to your main living space, so you don't have to trek up 15, 20 stairs. You'll also have garage access into the house on the lower level. Some people don't like it, some people do, but at least you have garage access into the home here. But it is one of those elongated townhouses with some more vertical style living. So you've got your living space here that will transition into some of your dining space over here on the main level. But they've got some really nice detail in this one. Nice pendant lighting, nice wainscoting here. And then you've got a kitchen that's fully renovated, right? You've got nice quartz countertops. It's nice and bright, and they've got this picture coming in at a great time. You got tons of daylight coming in here, and it's just shining off that floor, right? So it really showcases the kind of elegance of this townhouse in particular. You've got the cabinets here with the glass instead of them being closed off, and then you've got a gas fireplace right in your kitchen, which is pretty rare. You don't see this very often right inside that kitchen space, but it isn't quite an
Oh,
eat
that's
it.
interesting.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
see it on the other side. We'll see if here you go.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's
That's
it's interesting. Yeah. So I mean, you're not eating in this space usually, I wouldn't imagine. You're probably eating in that dining space outside those doors. But it's a nice little kitchen. It's tight, but it seems to have a lot of cabinets. You got a lot of height here. Obviously, you've got the double oven, stainless steel appliances. It's all pretty expected at this price point to have at least some nice finishes if you're going to spend the money on it. You've got an interesting photo here. I'm not sure what this is adding adding
the
adding
plant. They
to the
love the plant there.
maybe,
Spotlight on the
right? So
plant.
you gotta love it, right? So really nice primary. You've got some vaulted ceilings here. You do have a skylight. Skylights are like a love and hate relationship for me. They're great. They allow more light in, but if you have any water issues with them, they are just going to be a massive headache. So if you're doing a home inspection, and I would suggest you do a home inspection, make sure that you get these looked at properly, because if the seal is broken here, you're just gonna smack yourself up the head, right? You're gonna have so many more issues to deal with. And you're in a townhouse, right? So you got to get a lot more approvals done from the other neighbors to get up there, and it's just a bit of work. So nice peaked ceilings here. You do have the ensuite as well as your closet, but this is a nice little master suite. This is nicely set up here. It feels like you're getting pretty decent value now that we're comparing it to some of the other ones. Your secondary bedroom is here. And then we haven't made our way to what they would call the den yet, but this is that shared bathroom. So you do have the tub. Seems a little bit dated
A
here with
lot of
the
mirrors.
glass mirroring. I don't want to look at myself that closely. I don't know about most of us, but I'll pass on it. Just give me some drywall or some paint. But this is a lot of angles you're going to see here in this bathroom,
You
right?
see everything. You'll be opened up
Yeah,
there.
it's a blast from the past almost, right? So the basement space is where you're going to see that plus one that you were asking about. You're going to come into your garage here. This is that lower level, and then you've got your laundry, and then this is that plus one. So it's kind of like a little office space that you can utilize as a bedroom or an office. You've got enough window light here in the front of the house to not feel super trapped, like you're in a real dungeonous basement, but then you get an additional bathroom down here with the shower. So for me, this is a
Oh, backyard too.
great little option plus a yard, right? And for me, this is the bonus is it's not a backyard you have to maintain a ton, right? You don't have a ton of grass. You're just maintaining the shrubs here. That makes it easier because getting a lawnmower back to that space, nightmare. How are you going to do it? It's not very easy, right? You're going to have to let it live in the backyard. So that's the back side of the house. Does look like we didn't get a picture up there, but you have a little Juliet balcony off of the primary as well, which is kind of cool. Allow you to open up your doors, pretend you're Disney princess or something up top there. I don't know what you're going to do with it. I've had it in the past in one of my homes, and you never open those doors, but they look neat to say the least. So this is kind of outskirts of Toronto, like 15 minutes outside of the city for 1.1. All of a sudden, it really does feel a little bit less expensive after looking at what you've got there based on the floor plan, based on how that layout is. It's still, for the average person, way too much to spend for a townhouse in Canada or in Ontario. But if you're comparing the two
That's a
provinces that
steal
we're
out
in,
here. Yeah,
right?
that's
You don't
a
even, you get a
steal.
driveway. You get a driveway and a garage, right?
Because what's the square footage of that?
Square footage on that guy here. Let me see where it's at. So it's sub 1500, including that lower basement space, which we typically aren't including. It says 1800. So I'd say it's about 15 without that basement.
Yeah, I mean
That,
that's
that
like high ones up in if it was in a good area, that's like high ones here.
yeah.
1.7, 1.8.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty good value all in all. And as you guys can see, there's a big variance from province to province, right? We just showed you 4 or 5 different options out there, and we've got prices going from the 300s to the 600s to the ones and even higher where you're in the Vancouver area, Kyle. So there's just so much going on. And depending on where you're at, some of them might make sense. Some of them might not make sense at all. And I think for a lot of people, those of us who are maybe thinking of investing in real estate, looking outside of the province, if you're in one of our more expensive ones, that's where the opportunity is if you are in that investor type mindset, right? You're not really in Vancouver going to find a great return on your investment if you're spending 1.5, or in Toronto if you're spending 1.1. Your return on the investment doesn't make sense. You could put your money in the markets and make a better return than most of us, because you're not going to put down 500,000 on the mortgage, right? If it's $1 million. So it's interesting to see, that's for sure. So thank you guys for hopping on this podcast with us. As mentioned before, you're going to see us every Monday and every Friday. Kyle, wrap it up for us here, my friend. What do you think? Where are you moving? If you got to choose one of these 5 spots, where are you headed?
Oh, well, despite the mirrors in the bathroom there, I'd pick that. I love character. I'd go with the one that's 1.1. You have the driveway, you have the backyard. I love the brick. That's probably where I'd be going. But depending on where you as the viewer, if you're wanting to make some of these connections, as Mike said off the top, we do have referral partners all across the country. So if you're needing help to get into a space, reach out to one of us. We can connect you, and maybe the one in Toronto, Moncton, Calgary is a fit for you. I would love to help you out in that capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like I'm getting a new neighbor down here from Vancouver, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Take care.